As I began reading Invisible Man, I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to relate to the character because he's going to go through things that I've never really had to deal with, specifically racial discrimination. I had to really ask myself, what does invisibility mean to the narrator? I was under the impression that invisibility meant not being noticed or cared about. But as I read through the book, I realized that invisibility means not being seen for who you truly are. Now, I quickly found that I could relate to the character because I too am a people pleaser. The narrator is bombarded with labels and stereotypes, and in the beginning of the book, he tries to protect himself by acting in a way that he thinks will gain respect and please others, but usually it just affirms other people's assumptions of him, like in the case with Dr. Bledsoe. During our first day of class, we talked about how covering up who we truly are can make us feel invisible. After the character has his symbolic rebirth, he learns not to pretend anymore, but people still place all of these stereotypes on him and often jump to conclusions to his true motives. But the narrator has this fatal flaw: pride. He jumps to conclusions about other people when he feels judged, like in the case with his meeting with the committee after Clifton's funeral. They judge his actions, and so he attacks the validity of their movement. And so I think that the narrator also has a kind of blindness to the people around him in the way he jumps to conclusions. I think that the narrator's blindness towards the characters and vice versa represents the kind of racial divide that exists and the kinds of misunderstandings and judgments that can happen. A very interesting thing that happens in the book is that the narrator is very concerned about making a good impression on white men because he doesn't want them to judge other black men based on him or vice versa. This made me wonder if I judge or label a person based on other people I know that are like them. I ask myself if it is fair, and how do we keep from doing it? I also noticed that the issues that are talked about in this book are very relevant to today, like with the race riots and the offensive images and stereotypes, and I was wondering if we would be able to talk about them in class.